Welcome back to The Explainer. If you're someone who loves to learn, if you're a focused learner looking to master your own attention, you are in exactly the right place today. We're going to unpack a truly fascinating story from a small, quiet village. It's a beautifully simple tale, but honestly, it holds this profound psychological lesson about silencing distractions and completely mastering your own focus. We're going to break down this narrative step by step, and by the end, you're going to walk away with a completely new understanding of how to protect your energy and your goals. Okay, let's dive into this. How do you silence the noise of the world? It's a question we all face, right? Every single day we deal with external pressure, the fear of judgment, and our own internal self-doubt. When you're trying to achieve something difficult, it's like the world suddenly seems full of critics just ready to distract you. Well, this explainer is going to answer this exact question by looking at the life of a boy who literally had to learn the hard way how to tune out a world that just wouldn't stop shouting at him. Section 1. The Hard-Working Boy. So our story introduces us to a boy named Raghav. He lives in this quiet village painted with green fields and warm sunlight. And to really understand his relentless work ethic, we just have to look at his daily routine. Long before sunrise, he was already out plowing the fields. By day, he watered plants until sweat literally covered his body. And then at night, after all that brutal physical labor, he'd wash up and sit down to study under this tiny, small lamp. He lived with his mother, and the entire responsibility of running their home fell squarely on his young shoulders. Because of this intense dedication, the whole village fully expected him to absolutely crush his 12th grade exams. Section 2. The Weight of Failure. But when the exam results finally arrived, something shocking happened. Despite all of that immense effort, Raghav failed a single subject. It felt like the sky had completely fallen on him. But you know what? The failure itself wasn't actually the worst part, and this brilliantly illustrates the real struggle here. Internally, Raghav was devastated. His heart was breaking in total silence because he knew he tried his absolute best. But externally, every time he walked to the fields, the villagers were whispering, laughing, throwing sharp words at him. They mocked him, calling his confidence useless, and those words felt like thorns. Section 3. The Teacher's Challenge. Completely overwhelmed by this constant judgment, Raghav sought out his mentor, Teacher Kareem. Kareem was an old man with a really calm voice and kind eyes. Raghav confessed he just couldn't take the mockery anymore. Kareem listened calmly, and then he assigned a test for the very next morning. Raghav was to carry a large pot filled to the absolute brim with fresh milk down the exact same path right past those mocking villagers. But Kareem gave one absolute non-negotiable rule. He said, not even one drop must fall, not a single drop. Now think about this for a second. Why would the teacher ask him to do something so strange? Here's a boy who is already emotionally crushed by the village's judgment, and the teacher tells him to carry this incredibly heavy, precarious pot of milk right past his absolute worst critics. If he drops even a little bit, the mockery is only going to get worse. It is a massive, high-stakes challenge. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds. The Walk of Focus. The next morning, just as the village is waking up, Raghav steps outside holding this heavy, full pot with both hands. The villagers are already lining the path, ready to laugh once again. But as Raghav begins to walk, something entirely different happens. The pot feels shaky. One mistake and it spills. So he locks his eyes entirely on the pot. His hands become perfectly steady. His breathing slows down. The villagers are shouting, but he doesn't hear them. All he hears is his own heartbeat. The faces blur, and the cruelest laughs turn into nothing but faraway echoes. He reaches the fields without spilling a single drop. When he returns to Teacher Kareem, he explains that he was so intensely focused on the pot, he didn't hear a single thing on the way. And the teacher smiles, finally revealing the true purpose of the task. He tells him, when you focus deeply on your work, your goals, your dreams, people's words lose their power. Their noise becomes meaningless. Because ultimately, focus makes noise disappear. Section 5. Blurring the background. Now, what's really interesting about this is how that simple physical act of carrying the milk completely transformed Raghav. The village hadn't changed at all. They were still ready to mock him, but Raghav had become untouchable. He went back to working the fields with this deeper peace, and he started preparing for his exams again, completely free from fear. This story brilliantly redefines our core concept. We usually think of focus as, just paying attention to a screen or a book. Actually, scratch that. It's way more than that. True focus is the deliberate act of making the world quiet so you can hear your own heart. It's a shield against external noise. The source beautifully compares this to a camera lens. One early morning, watching the sunrise touch his face with golden light, Raghav smiled as he realized this truth. Think about it. When you fix a camera lens onto a specific subject, the background naturally goes out of focus. It blurs. You don't have to actively fight the background or argue with it. You just have to lock onto your target, and the negativity automatically fades from view. So the crucial point is how we actually apply Raghav's lesson to our own lives when we inevitably face extreme pressure. Well, we can follow these 3 steps. Step 1, take a deep breath to center yourself. Step 2, hold your goal, your own metaphorical milk pot, with steady hands, giving it your undivided attention. And step 3, just trust that by doing this, the noise will naturally fade away. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. What is the milk pot in your life that needs your absolute focus right now? What is that dream or project you need to carry forward steadily, regardless of who is laughing on the sidelines? Find your focus, protect your energy, and let the noise disappear. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I can't wait to explore our next topic with you. Stay focused.